Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Bonnie. Our theme for this practice is posture and possibility. We'll be focusing on your feet and your head, and you'll learn that simply placing your awareness on those two parts of your body, that you will have choices outside of our habitual default positions. So think of this practice as a mini movement laboratory, and let it help you to discover that making even small changes can have a positive difference in how you feel and move. So I want to show you the props you might want to get. You could get a blanket or a rolled up beach towel and a block to use for this practice, and maybe a chair. And let me know how it goes. Like, comment, and look at the details below in the description of this video. And I'll meet you on the mat. Okay, let's start with our feet. Just wherever you're standing, however you're standing, I'd like you to sway left and right. And the inquiry here is to feel how this swaying affects other parts of your body, such as your knees, your hips, your shoulders. And this favoring one side over the other obviously is a teaching to see how your feet affect the rest of your posture. So let's go forward and back. Now when you lean forward, notice what muscles and tissues seem to light up, seem to hold you in place, and the other ones aren't working as hard. And then leaning back. See what happens when you lean back more on your heels and what muscles and tissues seem to come into play. And so again, the habits, if we only use one part or stand one way, it will affect our posture. So now I'm letting my feet open toward the pinky toe side of the feet. Notice what you feel, and then letting the feet kind of come in toward the big toe side. Notice what you feel there. Maybe you put one toward the big toe, one toward the pinky toe. And of course, if you look at the heels of your shoes, you'll see what you favor there. So the idea here is just to say nothing's bad or good, but if we default to habits and how we stand in our feet, we only use different parts, and we want to use the whole body. We want a lot of choices. So because of my tendency to kind of thrust my hips forward and stand on my toes, I like to bring more weight to my heels. And I catch myself all day long bringing a little bit more weight to my heels. So we'll bring that awareness to the practice when we get going. And now we'll focus on the head. So think about when you are obviously looking at a phone or some kind of device, that our head will come forward. So coming forward like that. And notice what that does for your neck and your shoulders. And also notice what happens if you tilt your chin a lot and what engages then. So the idea is where we place our head will also affect the rest of our spine, because it sits on top of the neck, which is part of the spine. What I'd like you to do is take your pointer finger, put it to your chin. I'm going to go sideways and just bring the head back. Just gently push back. So you could feel that when we are jutting our chin, reading, looking at the computer most of the day, we'll need to every so often change it up, change our posture. And the idea of a lot of variety is what we're going for, that no one posture is the best or the worst, but let's at least pay attention in this practice as we go forward to where we're holding our head, how we connect our feet to the ground. I always say the feet are like the basement of a pose. Okay, from here, we're going to do some asana. So stand for a moment and then bring your feet open. Point your toes outward and bend your knees. And once again, are you favoring the big toe side or the pinky toe side of the feet as you do this? I like to feel my knees go more toward the center toes of the feet, because if I bend them and favor the big toe side, it's not a very comfortable thing for my knees. So coming straight up and down, and then bringing the arms up and feeling like you're pulling a shade down as your knees bend. So inhale, exhale. Now think about, again, your head. If you were going to keep going, your finger at your chin, can you move your head a little bit back? Because our habit, let's do 2 more, is to bring the head forward. Of course, we're getting a nice blood flow here. Good. And now bring the arms up, toes forward. Feel how that position of your feet changes in your hips. We're going to hip hinge. See my other video about how to do that. And then if you hang your head, it doesn't feel so good typically on the lower back. So hip hinge and then come with me back to that pull the shade down goddess squat. 3 more times, hip hinge. And again, the focus here is how does our head, how does our feet affect your posture? Plus we're getting a nice little asana practice here. Pull the shade down 1 more time. Hang your head just to feel the difference. Jut your chin to feel the difference. Come to neutral. Feel the difference there. Excellent. Okay. Bring feet in. Interlace your fingers. Point your finger to the sky and raise the arms above the head. Again, notice how you bear weight on your feet. We're going to come up and over in a crescent moon. And now I'd like you to come to the toes of your left foot and notice how that changes the shape. Again, from the ground up, how does this position affect the rest of your body? Let's try it the other way with lifting the right heel up. Yeah, and decide which one you like better. Lengthen up and over, side bending. Good. And now come to your right toes. Bending the knee and feeling how that affects the shape of the body, even your breathing. And then the other one. Breathing in and out. And release, inhale, exhale. Feels so great on the side of the body when we add different positions of our feet. For most of us, but maybe not you. Maybe not all of us. So let's look at our feet position and our head position in the balancing pose. You may want to come against a wall or have a chair near you. We're going to shift our weight to our left foot. Kind of notice how it connects to the earth. And then find some air under the right foot. And then on purpose, let your head come forward. So kind of slump as you lift the leg, lift the foot, and see how that feels. Good. Now do the same thing on the other side. Shift the weight to the right, bend the left knee, and slump. And see how balance feels when you do that. Good. Now, sense not only that you are not slumping, in other words, head forward, but you can put your finger at the chin, feel that prouder posture, a different posture, shift the weight, and then start to lift the foot and get some air. And notice how kind of more muscles are engaged. We feel prouder, stronger, and when I let my head come forward, it just doesn't feel as good. I call this Karate Kid. Shaking and quaking is fine. Breathing, and then kick if you want to. Good. Shift to the other side. Feel the stability of your foot, not rolling toward the little toe, not rolling toward the big toe, but in balancing, we want the most stable position your body allows. And come along with me. Nice proud posture. Think about a crown on your head that you don't want to fall off. And begin to see the difference. And when I slump, ooh, so I come right out. But when I feel that the head is a little bit more proud. The chin is back. It affects the rest of the spine. Beautiful. And then release down. Excellent. Shake it out. So the next posture we're going to do is a wide leg forward fold. You'll need your block for this. Okay, coming to the wide leg forward fold. Take the block, put it in front of you. Some of you may want to use the seat of the chair for this, just like I'm using the block. It's your choice. And the awareness, as we hip hinge forward, lead with the chest. Bring your hands to the block. Slide your shoulders away from your ears. And notice what happens if you bring more weight. I'll go sideways so you can see. More weight onto your toes. Again, notice how it impacts the reflection, the reverberation of the body, and then more weight to your heels and feel what lights up there. So see what you prefer. See what feels a little bit more comfortable. And now bring your feet a little bit wider and point your toes in, kind of a little bit pigeon-toed, and let your heels come out. Again, notice the chain reaction into the hip joints. Have you noticed that? And you might want to see if you're favoring the left foot over the right. Find a neutral, balanced place if possible for your body. I love this pose. Place your left hand on the block and open up to the right. Let's just open the chest. See if you can see your thumb. Inhale, exhale. Second side. Good. And again, if you let your head relax down, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But the idea is to come up with an array of ways you can hold your body in space. We want to keep all those options in our human repertoire. So we're schlumping a lot of the day. I am anyway, because I'm on the computer a lot. So again, bringing the head back up in line with the spine, for me, feels better. Now heel toe your feet in. Press into the earth. Hands on the hips, hinge back up. And we're going to make our way down to a seated position. And this is where you'll need, or you may want to have your blanket, and I'll show you in a moment. Welcome to seated. Sit on a blanket or a pillow if you want, and let the legs stretch out. If you are wanting to bend your knees ever so slightly, you can do that. I like to sit on this because it helps my spine feel a little more elongated. Take your finger now, again the head, see if your head is slumping a little forward and the finger presses the chin back. Let's do that a few times. And this is just something to remind yourself throughout the day to be aware of where your head is at. And last one. Sitting here in the staff pose, I'd like you to circle your feet in opposite directions. And again, the idea is how do these different positions, you can see the feet go pigeon toe, they go kind of like Charlie Chaplin. How do these different positions resonate, reverberate up into other hips and joints? So we want it all. We want that full potpourri of movement go the other way in our lives, in our joints, in our muscles. If we're too long in one spot, we start to lose the ability, not the ability, but the comfort in going to other places. And I find myself head forward a lot because of the work I do, as I said. And then we're going to point and flex. So this is a great, there's some core work to stay upright, but we're also working with our ankles to benefit our feet and our circulation. Excellent. Then slide your right foot so it's about at the hip joint. Press into that foot. Inhale, get a little taller and turn your belly to your left. I'm bringing my left hand behind. And just take a nice seated twist. Now here, maybe you want your foot and therefore your leg a little bit more out. Try that. On this foot, maybe you can press into the big toe side a little more, or even move its position. And in this seated rotation, you can feel the difference even here in a ostensibly simple pose, how those little micro movements and adjustments will change your experience. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, unwind. Good. We'll do the second side. Again, experimenting, not letting yourself roll toward the pinky side, pressing into the big toe side of your left foot. Crown on your head, and we'll revolve the belly. Again, you decide where you want your foot and therefore your leg. And just take a gentle rotation. Now here on this side, even if you look at a different place, maybe more behind you, you'll feel how rotating the head has that nice effect on the neck and the upper back. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, unwind. Excellent. Bring your legs in. And on this last pose, we're going to offer you a chest opener. So on this next pose, you could fold a blanket or a beach towel into this rectangular shape, or you could use a block. We're going to do a relaxed bridge on the block. Or a blanket. So I'm going to use the block, but you can easily substitute the blanket in a horizontal position under your hips. So coming down with your knees bent, press into your feet, lift your hips, and place the block underneath your hips, your sacrum, but not your lower back. And the idea here is to once again, pardon me, posturally feel where your head is. So we don't want the chin to jut. We'd like a more neutral head. I like to think about the forehead parallel with the ceiling, and that could mean for you that you put a blanket under your head and neck. It's up to you. And even here, what happens if I move my feet a little further out? How does that change what I feel in my knees and hips? Neither one is right or wrong. And one of the benefits of this, of course, is to open up the chest, the belly, and there's a magical relaxation response that if you stay here long enough and breathe, you notice that your system starts to calm, become peaceful. Of course, you have the option to turn the block to a higher height, so that would mean pressing into your feet, lifting your hips, and turning the block higher. Some of you may like that, some may not. At the same time, just notice the opening and the expansion in the front of the body. And I'd like to invite you to stay here probably up to 5 minutes or more, depending on how acclimated you are to this shape. So you can pause the recording and do that. And when you're ready, press into the feet, Move the block or blanket away. Bring the knees to the chest and circle the knees so they're making circles on the ceiling. 3 times one way, 3 times the other way. Let your feet come down. Roll to either side. Take a breath. And then press into your hand and come up to seated. Thank you for joining me. Let me know in the comments what you liked, how it went, and what insights you have had. Have a beautiful week.